Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. Um, so, today is Saturday. As of yesterday, the uh, Chinese Consulate in Houston was supposed to be closed, and I assume it is, because of an order given by Trump. The Chinese Consulate in Houston is one of the largest and oldest consulates in the United States. Now, why would he pick Houston? Well, first of all, take a look at what is in Houston. The Houston Shipping Channel, the Port of Houston, which is a very large shipping port where a lot of goods enter and leave this country. In addition, Houston has got a very large Asian population. So, by closing this consulate, he leaves many Chinese nationals and immigrants with no representation without having to travel quite some distance to reach any assistance they may need. So, what was the reason that Trump gave for this? He claimed that China had allegedly hacked, pandemic vaccine research. Now, previously, the U.S. and UK had accused Russia of hacking vaccine research. Well, this is a worldwide problem. First of all, nobody should even have to hack any vaccine research information. This information should be freely shared among countries. But the American drug industry, the pharmaceutical industry, is completely profit-driven. Now, there has been no evidence presented that either country had hacked anything. Once again, no evidence presented. It's all, unnamed, anonymous sources offering no evidence but being presented as fact. And the media backs it up. They claim that there's truth to this. With nothing. They don't. So and so said. Anyway, China has stated that they will retaliate by closing the U.S. Embassy in Wuhan, which is a very large region. Okay? They can retaliate in other ways. I've said before that all they've got to do is cut back on trade with America. And what is America going to do? We don't have any manufacturing capacity, and nobody is building any manufacturing capacity but in America. But I'm going to cover that elsewhere in another video today. So, if China decides, as I've said before, to limit or completely ban any sales of rare earth minerals to the United States, that will cripple a number of industries, and most notably the military technology industry. So, this is also happening as the U.S. is increasing a militaristic presence in the South China Sea. We have no claim on the South China Sea, and several countries have told us they don't want us there. The Philippines, and other countries have said they don't want our warships in that region. It is too risky. They've seen what U.S. military presence means. They would rather be dealing with this directly, diplomatically with China. But that doesn't stop the U.S. from our aggressions. If war erupts with China, war erupts with Russia and Iran and a number of other countries, what few forces we have left in Iraq and Syria and anywhere else in the Middle East, if a war erupts with these major powers, these are not small countries with no defensive abilities. The forces that are left in these other countries will be left with no resources in a hostile environment. So you can just count them as a loss. And I'm not saying that in some cold way. I'm telling you that U.S. forces will be slaughtered with no means of defense. Think about that. Once our forces in those countries fall, where is our power? Russia and China have got armaments that can take out U.S. aircraft carriers and their entire, entourage in minutes. Russia has hypersonic weapons, which just by velocity could sink an aircraft carrier with no warhead attached to the missile. Just by sheer velocity, the missile would go straight through the hull from one side to the other. Add a warhead to it, and it could pretty well just atomize at least a part of an aircraft carrier. China is much larger than the United States. Russia is larger than the United States. Now, China is more populous and has a larger military. Russia is less populous, and their population is more concentrated. But their military resources are sufficiently dispersed that you can't take them out with just some small attack. They do this on purpose. Take a look at a map and see just how large these countries are compared to ours. Look at the resources they've got compared to ours. This is not a good situation. And, to keep on closing down diplomatic channels and leaving human beings from other countries with no resources, this is just not good at all. This, again, he's attacking brown-skinned people. That's it. That's all he's doing. He's attacking brown-skinned people. Yes, he is absolutely racist. Everything that he has done has shown just how racist he is. Look at the attack on Portland. Why? Because the protests are for Black Lives Matter. Officially. I mean, there are a lot of things involved, but the official movement is against Black Lives Matter. And he is talking about sending, federal mercenaries into Chicago and New York, both of which have very large, Black, Asian, and Hispanic populations, brown-skinned people. If there was a protest going on in North Carolina, South Carolina, something like that, with a mostly white population, he would not be talking about this at all. We've still got children in cages at the border and getting no medical treatment. You got sick immigrants, legal or illegal, being deported back to their countries, spreading disease. This is the equivalent of blankets being traded to Native Americans that were infested with chickenpox or smallpox. Or, launching plague bodies over the walls of a city. This is the same thing. So, these attacks are on purpose. And you have no rights. If you think that because he's closing the Chinese consulate that it somehow builds us up, and adds tariffs to any goods coming from certain countries, which winds up just increasing how much you pay for goods and decreases our trade with these countries. There's no good involved in this. There is no good here. So, what can we do about this? I'm not expecting a lot of people to call or protest against the closure of the Chinese consulate. The only point of this is to be aware we can protest against war. We can protest against trade wars. How much good is it going to do? Not a lot, because the Democrats are not, opposed to this. They just increased the funding for the Department of Homeland Security and the military budget. So, we need to be protesting in any way we can. I'm not in favor of being out in the streets in large groups while the pandemic is raging, but we need to take other steps. Phone calls, emails, tweets, whatever. We need to talk about these things among each other. Keep each other informed. Make people think about this. Because this closure of this consulate is not a small issue. All right, so please share this video. Talk about these subjects.